Okay, we are recording. Tallulah, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. Where are you today?
I'm in Hastings at my house, but it's a very busy day and our tour starts today with a hometown show and yeah, the album's out Friday, so it's just feeling quite hectic but exciting.
Oh, well, I appreciate you taking time out of the day to come and chat
No,
tunes
yeah,
with
of
me.
course. Of course.
Um, well, look, let's kick off the playlist, and it's always the same way. And I'm going to ask you, please, to tell me the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Well, it's a hard question, but the first song that came to my mind was Rockers to Swallow by Yeah Yeah Yeahs, who are one of my all-time favorite bands. And I just love the sort of suspense of that intro. And it's an intro that, you could play that for 5 minutes live on stage and just build it up and build it up and build it up. And the space in it is just, I find really impactful and exciting. And her sort of delayed, distorted vocals over that drum beat and the like muted guitar. I just love it. Um, but yeah, it's kind of the first one that came to mind. Obviously, there's so
Wonderful.
many good intros, and I love a long intro.
You love a long intro. So
Sadly,
this is interesting because this leans into what I was going to ask you because um as a as an exciting new band, like, do you feel that you have to play the games such as TikTok and having songs that have very short, sharp, impactful intros that might, give you that opportunity to maybe get head and shoulders above somebody else on a Spotify playlist that might have a
yeah,
longer drawn out intro. There's no right or wrong answer to this, Tallulah,
yeah,
and
no,
and
no,
I'm
it's
always
crazy.
fascinated as to how bands approach it and essentially around the intro. So, what's
For
your, if
sure.
any, if any, approach to it?
No, no, this is a good question. I mean, I find all of this social media stuff, TikTok stuff, just like most artists and musicians, absolutely ridiculous. And it's almost, bands blow up overnight and then have a 5 minute success and career because, I mean, it's just crazy. It's kind of ruined the music industry, sort of. But I'm always very stubborn about it. And are like, no, I want this intro to be really long, or for the song. But when really our songs that come in straight away with the vocals always do the best, and the statistics are there, and
Have you seen that
they
from your own experience with your music then?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah. So it's
interesting.
like the songs that do are an instant hit, they do better because people have a short attention span, and because if you don't hear singing straight away, people tend to just click straight past it. But I just wish that wasn't the case. I think you do have to play into that for sure. I just hope to get to a certain level one day where we can write albums with really long intros and know that people will be listening.
Do
But
you
I
think
guess while you're still at this stage and you're trying to gain an audience and try and make it as well as you can, I think you do slightly have to play the game, sadly.
do you think that is the way now, that should you want to be more, I guess, experimental, expansive, and and wig out a bit more with the music, that you do have to, because the Cure have put out albums that have not necessarily been as, as infectious as something like Just Like Heaven, or instant like that. They've been far
Yeah.
more expansive. But do you think you need to get to a certain level of where establishing yourself with a solid fan base or
No,
following
I mean,
before you can really sort of get away with it? And it sounds bollocks to say get away with it, because
yeah, I
you're just
know.
creating art. Do you know what I mean?
I think, some bands really do whatever the hell they want and they do really make it and they get really lucky. But in an industry where there's so many bands at this stage all fighting so hard, I think sometimes you do just have to play into it a little bit, which is annoying. But I don't know. I think it really depends. Like, obviously stick to your guns and stick to what you think, but yeah, I wouldn't say you have to make it a certain level before you can play a long intro or have a 10-minute song, but it probably helps a bit to
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you now to tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Yeah. Well, I really remember being a kid and my dad used to sing and play guitar. He used to sing "I Love You" because I think it was probably the Elvis version because he's a big fan. But I guess that's sort of the first song that had an emotional impact on me because I mean it's a very lovely song and I vaguely remember it like in my old bedroom when I was a kid. But yeah, I guess that's quite an important song to me, and he really has supported me through wanting to do music and wanting music as my career. And he plays piano, and as a kid, I'd really like look up to him, and he's like done so much for us and taught me all my first chords on guitar and stuff. I mean, he knows like the bare minimum on guitar, and but yeah, he'd like be very patient with me and sit with me for hours and teach me things, which has, I guess, yeah, made
Well,
me
you've
who
beaten
I
me
am.
to my question because I normally ask guests now, like, the environment they grew up in, was it musical? And I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
like it was ridiculously musical. And you mentioned that the instruments that your dad can play and showing you how to play them. But aside from, I mean, you mentioned Elvis there. Like, give me a little insight into. I mean, was the record player or the radio on at home growing up? And if so, what other stuff was you being exposed to musically?
Yeah, definitely. Sat by the record player right now, actually. But my dad would listen to one artist that my dad always used to listen to used to terrify me because he used to listen to Tom Waits all the time, and it would make me cry because I thought he sounded like a monster, and now I see that that's like kind of ridiculous. But yeah, lots of like James Brown and stuff like that. And then my mum is really into music as well. She's not a musician or anything, but she listened to a lot of heavier bands or like alternative bands, 90s bands, and she introduced me to bands like Hole and Yeah Yeahs and Beck, and very the opposite side to my
Yeah,
dad. But yeah, I've been really lucky and growing up in such a musical
yeah.
with such a musical family.
That's a fantastic balance of music to get. Getting, something as abrasive and as uncompromising as Tom Waits, and then
Mm.
getting some absolutely banging 90s alternative rock as well. That's a fantastic branding.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's made me really open to lots of genres, and especially in HotWax, like I always want to draw from as many different genres as we possibly can to keep it exciting. And yeah, I feel very lucky to have grown up
Yeah,
like that.
wonderful. Well, let's stay in the formative years. And I'm going to ask you now to tell me the song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
Yeah. Well, when I saw that question, I just had this funny memory of walking to school. I'd always my headphones would always break because they're the little ones you put in your ears, and I don't know, they just scrunch up in my bag and always break. So I'd always walk to school with my phone like pressed against my ear with my finger in my other one. And I remember all the time I'd listen to like a lot of Tribe Called Quest and Jurassic 5 and bands like that or groups like that. And one song I really remember listening to loads was "We the People" by Tribe Called Quest. Just like every day, I just love walking to that song,
Yeah.
and don't know, sort of set me up for my day at school, which I hated. So
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute about school, but I'm a little bit sort of preoccupied with the first thing you said. Like, because I'm just picturing people just going, "What the fuck's going on there? Why has that girl got a phone in one hand and a finger in her ear hole, like strolling down the road?" But that's not even the thing. Tribe Called Quest, like, that's kind of way before your time. Like,
mm,
tell me about how you discovered hip hop then.
I think at school, I was like very, like strange, didn't really have any friends, and I used to kind of
Walking
look
to
up to
school with a
like.
finger in your ear is not going to help that.
I guess I really didn't help myself,
Mm.
did I? But um, the like those older years at school, and there was a lot of like skaters and stuff like that that I thought were quite cool, and like there's more arty kids, and they'd all listen to stuff like that, so I sort of just started listening to it because they were listening to it, and I wasn't even friends with them. I just thought they were quite cool,
Yeah.
and then discovered all this sort of music and just really liked it. And I used to skateboard as well when I was younger. It didn't last very long. I broke like my wrist and my ankle, and then I just gave up. I was
Yeah.
way too clumsy. But yeah, it was just like looking up to other kids at school, I guess, and that's how I discovered that sort of music.
So you mentioned just briefly there how much you didn't seem to be a fan of school. So tell me
Mm.
about your relationship with school. I take it wasn't the one that you'd hoped for.
No, not really. I mean, I went to school in a place called Rye, and it's pretty small town. Not many people were into music, especially in my year. No one was in a wanted to be in a band. They all thought it was really, really weird, apart from Lola, who I met, our bass player. So we met in year seven and formed a band really, really quickly at about 12, and just used to literally the younger kids at school would throw their school dinners on us. We'd like run down the corridors and hide in the music room and stuff. But yeah, I'm just really lucky that I found Lola through through that. But we just used to sort of hide in cupboards and stuff at school. It was just very, I don't know, not the funnest.
And you said that you put the band together when you met Lola, at the age of 12, which is a fantastically beautiful story. How cool is that you're still doing this now and it
Yeah.
started then. But so was there ever any even kind of question as to what you was going to do when you left school? Was music always the way, or was there anything else that you considered?
I was always really into like painting and art and stuff from when I was really, really young. I was really into painting before I started playing guitar. I started playing guitar when I was 8. But I guess me and Lola, we were just in bands and doing that all the time, rehearsing every week, working on stuff, getting excited at rehearsal like all the time. I mean, I never thought like, oh, it's going to be my job or this is what I'm going to do when I leave school. I never really thought, I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I guess I thought about college, and we decided to go to music college in Brighton. Um, and then we met our manager when we were like 18, sort of when we were still working in cafes and bars and stuff. And then suddenly we were just touring. So I don't know, I never really thought about it. It was just something we did, and we just play gigs loads and record when we can and rehearse all the time. But yeah, we never really had like a big plan or oh, we want to make it and record this and do this, and it was just sort of coming to us naturally and without even really thinking about it, I guess.
Was was your school supportive of creativity?
Well, when I went to go and look at my school when I was younger, on like the open day or something, it was like a very musical school, and they had like this whole section of the school where you could literally do makeup artistry for your GCSE and stuff like that, and it had like the biggest arts in probably the southeast for like I don't know, just normal schools. But then as soon as we went, all that got shut down, and now it's really academic, and it's really, really sad. But they still had like a massive art department. Like the art room was really big, and the music rooms are like all right. I mean, the equipment was a bit rubbish, but it was okay. I think we got lucky. We actually really luckily, I don't know how this happened, but when we took our GCSEs, we managed to swap out PE for music. So we were, it's like the only year that ever got to do that. We just didn't have to do any sports. We could just do music instead, which was, thank God.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to ask you now, please, to tell me the first song that you remember buying from a record shop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse record, and I got it in HMV in Hastings Town. But I guess buying records and stuff for my generation's kind of like we didn't really buy a lot because obviously we could stream music by then and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do remember getting a record player and my mum um, giving me her like a collection of her records and listening to them a lot. But yeah, I think I got Back to Black because on my phone it was like I think that album was the only music downloaded. So in school I used to like put my earphones like under my jumper and just whoever I sat next to be like, "Do you want to listen?" Um, but yeah, no, I do remember getting that.
How much of an impact did that record make on you?
Well, when I was younger, I used to absolutely love it, and I used to listen to lots of like girl 60s girl groups as well. Um, and artists like Aretha Franklin and stuff like that. So all bands like that really, really influenced me in like primary school sort of time. Um, and I mean, it is just an amazing record. I don't know. I love Amy Winehouse and I love the um, Frank album as well.
But I think
Um,
in the gap between that, I think it was quite safe to say that she discovered Shangri-La's and the Angels and all of them
yeah,
bands then, because that
yeah,
completely shaped that record, didn't
yeah,
it?
definitely.
And the look.
Yeah, and the look.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, what's your relationship like now with a record shop? You know, when you're out on tour, if there's a new town and there's a record store, will you go in there?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we have time on tour, we'll always, if we're going around somewhere and there's a record shop, we'll definitely go in. It's just like expensive
It's
now, isn't it? I mean,
crazy, right?
yeah, I mean, we can't, I don't know. I guess that's why it's good to have older people into your music now because they're the only ones who can really afford
Yeah.
records. Like, unless I really wanted something and once in a blue moon, really, would I
Mm.
buy a record? I mean, I would if I had the money, but it's just so expensive,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
which
I
is a
mean,
shame.
I love the fact that you can go out and buy tangible music and you know, really appreciate a sleeve as it should be seen on a
For
record. I think that's all
sure.
amazing. But at 30 quid a go,
Yeah,
nah.
I mean, it's insane, and it's so sad because I do love going to record shops and looking at the covers and the art and like how they've laid it all out and being like, really seeing it as a piece of art. But yeah, to actually buy one, I've got to save up.
So do you when you're putting together artwork for your music,
Yeah,
what are your considerations in regards to like because ultimately most pieces of album artwork are going to be seen on a device in your
yeah,
hand, where it is a very small square.
mm,
And I know through podcast artwork and such, you know, the idea is to keep it very stark, you know, not a lot on there because you've just got that little square on your phone. Whereas if you release it on vinyl, you've got this big expansive space to create this
yeah.
beautiful, you know, body of work. Like what kind of considerations go into it when you're putting together album artwork?
Um, I guess I normally have the more like marketingy people in our team being like, oh, it should be more minimal and more, because they're thinking
Of
it
course.
more business like, or even like if I've spoken to people about like poster designs or logo designs or whatever, they say like the best thing is to be really, really super simple. Like for instance, like the Idols merch, and they sell so much because it's just that simple thing. But I guess the artistic part of my brain is just like, shut up, I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, and I come up with like all the aesthetic stuff for our band and have the ideas for the videos and the um, album cover, which I've actually got here. But I'd say uh, I just really, it's all so emotional to me, like all the lyrics and everything like that, and the visual things like strike deep emotions in my brain. So I just want it all to link up perfectly, and that's all I really care about is being happy with the image and having little Easter eggs in there of what's in the songs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I definitely don't think, but it probably would be good if I thought of it more of a how people are going to see this and it's going to stick in their mind on a
Sure.
tiny little phone in a
Yeah.
tiny little square, which is sad. But yeah, I guess people can look at it in the shops and think about buying it.
Okay. Let's go clubbing. Tallulah, tell me the song that soundtracks your year's clubbing.
Well, I've never actually I've only been to like gay clubs. I don't think I could do straight clubbing, and I've never really properly, you know, been into going to clubs. But a song that I love and will, if anyone puts on to, I'll definitely dance to, is Strict Machine by Goldfrapp.
Yeah.
Um, I love Goldfrapp and I love Alison Goldfrapp, and I love watching their older live shows, like the one at Glastonbury, and they have all the girls in like bikinis coming out with like moose heads on, and all the art, the sort of creative visual side of it all I absolutely love as well. But yeah, that song is a very good song, and I
That is
love
a
that album.
that's a cracker. I think you may well be the first person to have mentioned Goldfrapp on this show, and we're over 600 episodes in now, and no one has mentioned Goldfrapp, which is pretty
Mm.
criminal. So I'm glad that we've got that in there,
Yeah,
and that is a banger of a track as well.
it is
Like, I
very
got I
cool.
got to see her a couple of years. We were talking about the Cure earlier. I actually got to I saw her support the Cure a couple of years
Oh,
ago,
really?
and she's still absolutely batshit and amazing.
Yeah, I've never seen them, but I think my mum did like a few years ago and was like sending me those videos, but I didn't manage to get tickets. But I would love to.
Wonderful. Right, we've been clubbing. It's time to go home. So, favorite song from an artist from your home county, please.
Yes. So this is a song by Demore Pappy, who are from Brighton, and the song is called "Suffer You." And they just probably when I was like 15, 16, this album was like my favorite, one of my favorite albums. And I love the sort of like Beatlesy harmonies with like the coolest riffs ever. And when I sort of started going to Brighton more often and being old enough to get into gigs and stuff like that, we'd always go and see them whenever they had a show. And it was always that thing when you're younger and it's like now I go to watch a gig and I'm transfixed on the band and I want to like see the band, but at the time you're just like, I just want to go in the mosh pit, and that's what you like care about when you're younger and just really excited. So we'd always like go to those shows and be like, hopefully get in the mosh pit. Um, but yeah, no, that album is insane. I love it. I think like I would be very happy and satisfied with myself if I'd written that, all those riffs and yeah, really nice melodies, but then still really heavy. I think.
Yeah. And really nice people as well. They guested on here maybe a year or so
Yeah,
ago. And they're such wonderful people.
yeah. I've met them all separately a couple of times, but I'm not sure. They probably won't know who I was, but I'm always like, hi, I love your album, I love your band.
That's that girl that was standing in the crowd with her phone in her ear and the other finger in her ear hole.
I was actually doing that on the train like 2 days ago.
You
I went
need to
back to
stop
doing it because I always
that.
forget my headphones, so I'm just sat there like,
You need one of them big fuck off headphones. That's what you need. So you can't put them in
I
a bag
have
and
them,
put.
but I always forget them.
Sorry, this is a podcast. I'm sounding like a life coach now, on a Tallulah. Right, you need to invest in some bigger headphones.
Yeah.
All right, it's your last track now, and this is where you get to be a tastemaker. And I'm going to ask you, please, to tell me a song that you think many people may not know that you would like them to hear, please.
Yeah, so this is a song called Frank by a band called Just Mustard, and they are Irish, and they've done like KXP sessions and stuff like that, but it's not like a really known band, I guess. But I just love this song, and in a lot of their songs, they have like a lot of space and really interesting sounds with the guitars, and it's very like haunting and get heavy parts but like a really beautiful angelic voice, And this song really reminds me of like the spring. It's the spring again now, which is crazy, but it really reminds me of last spring and like it was quite an exciting time and we were away touring a lot and I was listening to this a lot. And yeah, I had never really like heard of them a lot, but I think everyone should listen to them and this song. I think it's very good.
Well, we'll
But
make it
yeah.
nice and easy for people to do that, Tallulah, because we put together a little Spotify playlist to
Oh,
accompany the
great.
show, so people can go and listen to all of the songs that we've spoken about today, and obviously go and check out your band as well, which we need to talk about because we've been banging on about everyone else's music and we haven't really spoke about yours much. So bring us right up to speed with what's happening.
Well, we are about to release our debut album, Hot Shock, which is out on the 7th of March. I don't know
That's a
when.
good sentence to say, isn't it? We're about to release our debut album. That's fucking cool,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, I used to just feel like an album was so far in the future and it felt like this crazy
Yeah.
thing that felt very grown up. But I'm glad that we recorded it when we did and it still feels quite youthful and raw and chaotic and we wrote it at a time where we didn't even have much time we did like a song a day in the studio and recorded the majority of it live and wanted to keep in that like sort of I don't know youthful chaotic essence and all the adrenaline and mixed emotions heightened emotions all of it in there so yeah I'm really happy with it and yeah, we're just about to start our in-store tour and then go on another tour. First headline proper tours. We're normally used to being the support, which I love being the support, but now it's the added pressure of
Yeah, the pressure's on now.
being the headline. Oh God. But I think it'll feel great and it'll feel really like validating and I think we'll all feel full of love seeing everyone who's actually come to see us. Like I
Yeah.
can't quite believe it. But yeah,
Wonderful. Festivals? You going to hit the festivals this year?
yeah, well, we did so many last year. Last year we did like 38 or something. It was insane. So this year, like we're not playing the same ones we did last year because we did them last year, but we have got a bunch. I think we just got one in the Czech Republic for my 21st birthday, which is
Oh,
gonna be
wow.
fun in June. So yeah, they're coming in. I keep checking the calendar and there's more and more, so
Oh,
should be good.
superb. And to if people want to keep up to speed with releases, gig
Yeah.
dates and such, where's the best place to follow you?
Well, we're on Instagram, all the things,
Yeah.
TikTok, unfortunately. But you also check out our website where we have like all the links to every gig and everything you might want to know. Our
Wonderful.
album, you can buy it from there.
Well, I'll put the links in the show notes so people can go and do that,
Right.
and we'll tag you in it on the social. So if people aren't following you already, we make it nice and easy for them to
Great.
do so.
Thanks.
Tallulah, it's been an absolute delight talking records with you, and I
Oh.
will let you go and go and sound check. Have you sound checked already? Have you come back?
No, no. I'm still in my slippers at home, but I'll be leaving to sound check soon.
Wonderful. Well, have a lovely show tonight. Best of luck with the record, and thanks
Thank
again for coming
you.
on
Nice to
today.
meet you.
Oh, likewise. It's been an absolute joy. I'm going to press stop now. Thank you so much.